the NBA Strategy Show right here on the Stokastic.com YouTube channel. I'm Dave Loughran at Lofty_D. Joined by Josh Engleman. Today's show, of course, presented by Bet365. How we feeling, brother? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm tired. That's for sure.
Me too.
I like the playoffs, but it's hard, man. It's a hard grind. You want to watch these games, and then all of a sudden it's in the morning really quickly.
I've been rotating days I stay up to watch the late games and days I don't, because I can't make it throughout the whole week doing every single game and getting up at 6:30. Yesterday, stayed up to the end of that game. It's probably 12:30 when it ended, and then couldn't fall asleep. 2:00. So we're running on fumes, but we're good. Took the dog for a nice 2.5 mile walk just to get going. Had to convince myself to get up for that. We'll get through this one. Today, I don't think I'll probably stay up to watch everything. We'll watch the Sixers, though. Maybe some of the late games. But
it's funny because it's 10 o'clock start and 10:30 start. We'll have two games tonight. I'm more likely to be up, unfortunately.
Oh, that's rough, man. Yeah, I got the dual TVs in the basement, too. I might just be able to kick back down there, put them both on.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow I'll get a bit of a respite from it.
Maybe. I'm not playing Friday slate, so I'll probably get a bit of a respite Friday.
I was wondering. I'm not a weed smoker anymore, but today is 420, right?
Oh, is it?
And maybe you can explain this to me. Okay,
sure. I would love to.
And hey, fully in favor. I'm all about it. I'm certainly not a straight edge, Josh, but
no, quite a bit of curve to you.
I should be, but
especially when you pick. Never mind.
Yeah. Not. We can't get into that.
Okay, we're good.
The only people that celebrate 420 are the people that are smoking routinely anyway. So what makes today different? It's like happy 420. Smoke some weed where it's like. You're getting ripped every day. The people that are most excited, and I'm like, there's a lot of weed smokers out there. I know many of them, and I appreciate this because I've done it many times. That they just smoke weed before they go to bed, right? And it's like
that's pretty much me,
right? On the weekdays, that's you, right?
Yeah.
Just before you go to bed, helps you sleep, all that. That's great, and I know a lot of people that do that. I think for me, if I were to do it, that would be my most practical path. Because if I were to do it during the day, I wouldn't function properly at all.
Same.
But from what I've done, the people who celebrate 420 the most, right, and are the most vocal about it, literally nothing about their day changes from what it was the days before that.
No, you do more. You
still smoke more? Okay, so you just smoke yourself.
Look, I'm an American, but I still celebrate the 4th of July on the 4th of July. I'm more American on that day. I'm more of a stoner today.
Okay, so many just smoke yourself into a coma if possible, into just like a comatose state.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And then a lot of you want to watch Half Baked, you want to watch cartoons, like you really steer into it.
And sometimes you break out the big guns, right? Like just yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So it's the same as you do every day, except just to just more.
Right. Right. It's like every other holiday. You just need to dial it up a little bit more.
You didn't take off today, though, so you must not really celebrate the holiday.
I don't take off ever unless I have to.
All right.
But I mean, I like today more than I like most of the holidays. This should be a holiday that we just get off, man. We already work every other real holiday.
How was 420? How did 420 come to be?
No idea.
And you celebrate it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I used to know, and then because of 420, I can't remember.
According to Chris Conrad, curator of the Oaksterdam Cannabis Museum in Oakland, California.
We're going to go with curator on that one. That's a long A.
What?
It doesn't matter.
420 started as a secret code among high schoolers in the 1970s. A group of friends at San Rafael High School in Marin County, California, who called themselves the Waldos, would often meet at 420 to get high. Wow, what a backstory.
Yeah, there you go. Look, I mean, it's that good of a story that it's kept. Think about that.
The Waldos.
Just such a completely innocuous way to get this started has become like the common nomenclature for potheads.
So shout out to the Waldos, I suppose.
Where are they?
Probably dead.
Oh, that wasn't really where I was going with that joke, but okay.
Oh, sometimes I just not pay attention, and I just catch
pretty
the
bleak.
end of it.
Yeah,
I got
that's
sorry for them, I guess. Dead. They're born in probably like the late 50s, early 60s. So I'd say half. Were there 5 of them? Oh, probably like 2 or 3 of them are dead. What?
Not going to find those Waldos anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you could. You just have to exhume them.
Yeah, they're covered in dirt.
All right. Well, happy to have you guys with us. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe to the channel. And, all that good stuff. If you're listening in podcast form, we see you out there. Travis said everything, all Josh's jokes going over Lofty. I told you, I'm running 4 hours of sleep here. This is not going to be a streamlined program today. I can tell you that much, but we'll get through it.
Like every other day, I'll carry this.
Okay. All right. We see you out there. Subscribe to the pod, leave a rating, review, all that good stuff. Helps us a ton. In all seriousness, it does. So tell your friends about the show. Join our chalkboard too. If you're not in there, it's been a great time. We just hit 1,500 members. It's free. All the picks are free. Everything's always free, 100% of the time, forever. And we're building a great community, sports betting, DFS, everything. And if you want, like-minded people that love betting sports, love talking about sports, that's the place for you. Hopefully we'll see you in there. All right. Let's keep this. Let's get this started. 3 games today, kicking it off with Philly and Brooklyn. Philly 4.5-point favorites on the road, 209.5-point total, Josh. So essentially, Philadelphia 76ers defend home court advantage. They get 2 wins. They go back to Brooklyn, 209.5-point total, though. This is a shockingly low total. Not to beat. It's not that it's unexpected, but let's dive into it. Harden, terrible shooting performance last game. Joel Embiid pulled down 19 boards, but was just fine in the scoring department. It was Tyrese Maxey that led the way with 33 points. They have been getting it done in various ways to start this series. Even Tobias Harris chipping in along the way.
This is a really, really tough game and team to break down. That 209 total in comparison to what else exists for Sacramento Golden State. Yeah, or even just Phoenix and the Clippers is significantly higher. The Philly side of this one doesn't look great. I'm not going to lie. The highest owned guy that we have from Philly is Embiid at 15%. That seems about right to me. Similar story for Harden. I'm having a lot of trouble just getting to Philly in general. If you're a believer in the 40 minutes for Maxey, that looks a lot better. I went 37 at 6,700. I think he's fine. But we're seeing very minimal ownership coming in across the board to Philly. It's very clear that Embiid and Harden are your 2 best options. And if you can find the money to get to Embiid, go for it. I think it's pretty tough on a day like today with Steph being $1,000 cheaper than Embiid on a day without Draymond Green. I think Kawhi Leonard at 9,500, given the amount of minutes he's been playing, looks really appealing. You could always take a shot on someone like Kevin Durant at 9,600. So it's hard to get any real volume onto Embiid and Harden at this point. And then it's not as if like the third most owned guy for Philly is DeAnthony Melton. He's played 22 and 21 minutes across the first 2 games of this series. He's 4,100. You get a great positional eligibility, but they don't seem likely to be playing him massive minutes. You're just sort of squeezing in a little bit of additional value. They're not really messing with their rotation at all. You're getting the big 4, so to speak, getting the big chunk of minutes. They're rotating through Tucker, who doesn't really play much of a role in this series. Melton, McDaniels, they limited Niang in game 2. Paul Reed's just going to play whatever minutes. Joel Embiid isn't on the floor. It's just a wholly unappealing. This is very clearly the worst team that you can get to today.
The only thing I will say, though, is I do probably like Harden a little more than you do in this spot, because I think you're looking at 38 minutes minimum if this game stays competitive, and he's sub 9K, positive leverage score, not bad at all. I don't know. I mean, I guess the point, though, as you mentioned, as you stated a second ago, is that if you like Harden, great, but there's still two other games with much higher totals where all of these guys are playing big minutes. Totally understand that.
Yeah.
But if Harden does come in at real low ownership, we have him at 13% right now. I mean, he's just shot very poorly the first two games, even though he shot well from 3-point range in the first game. If he does get off and start getting start shooting, this game stays close and he plays 38, 40 minutes again, I do still think the ceiling on Harden is always very significant given his ability to rack up a ton of peripherals and get hot from beyond the 3-point line.
Yeah, no disagreement there. Like, he looks good. The problem is really just everything else that's around him.
Right.
Devin Booker is $100 cheaper. I think Devin Booker is just simply a better play. I mean, he's playing 44 minutes a night right now. I can't go there, but he's one of the few guys that you could expect to play more minutes than Harden. You can go to Fox, $200 more expensive, and just like a completely different game environment. So I think Fox with the same ownership, I think is very comparable to Harden. To me, looks slightly better. Even Sabonis, like obviously that's a different position, but I have him projected better than I have Harden projected for today. It's not that Harden doesn't look good. It's just that he sort of just naturally slots behind all of the guys that have the same salary. That's great if you want to be different in a GPP, but it's hard to make him a priority.
What do you think about if Jalen McDaniels sits? Not that we would have targeted him much, but he closed last game out alongside Embiid, Harris, Harden, and Maxey. Played 13 minutes to close out the game. If he ends up sitting and you're taking like 20, 22 minutes away from McDaniels, does more go to Tucker? Like, does Tucker close this game? Do more go to I mean, I can't imagine you'd have Melton out there in that spot. Maybe you would, and you just go small there. But it seems like a spot where it's pretty uneventful. But but because it's a playoff game, I have to ask you about taking a guy off the floor that did close the game and play 13 minutes of the last minutes.
I think in that situation, you're probably giving like an extra minute to Tucker, an extra minute to Melton, maybe 2 or 3 extra minutes to Niang, and then Daniel House just plays like 8, 10, something like that. They're just not in a position to care. Like, that's not when you're up 2-0 at this point and it's the like 7th guy that might not be able to play for the day. I don't think they're going to get too weird here. I think they'll probably just piecemeal a couple minutes out of it to everybody and then just jam in House for an irrelevant amount of time.
It's also really difficult with this team to figure out who's going to close. Like, if they're playing with the lead, you're probably going to see PJ Tucker out there if they have a comfortable lead. We saw that in game 1. In game 2, PJ Tucker, again, the last time PJ Tucker saw the floor, it was like a 4-point game, a 3-point game, and they left McDaniels out there. So I don't really know who would close even if McDaniels is in. You know what I mean?
And if you don't want to go Tucker, if you want to go to Melton or even like somebody like Niang in that situation, depending on what Brooklyn's doing, if they're going to continue to go small, then Philly can trot out whoever they want, because at that point in time, what all you're looking for really is shooting around Joel Embiid. Like, it doesn't matter as much if the only thing that Brooklyn has on the floor is wings. Like, maybe Tucker isn't even as useful in that scenario. I mean, he'll be fine. Like, he'll get respected in the corners, I guess, but you can kind of go wherever you want at that point if you don't think that Claxton's going to be out there.
How about the Brooklyn side of things, where you're talking about pretty significant ownership? Royce O'Neal, because he's cheap. Spencer Dinwiddie, 7,100, but he's pulling 33% right now. Dinwiddie through the first 2 games has been pedestrian at best. Not shocking either, but the minutes are huge, so there's that. I'm also not surprised that he's not averaging 15 assists per game in the playoffs as he was to close out the season. I'm being hyperbolic, but this dude was racking up double-digit assists like every single day. So I'm not surprised to see him come back down to earth a little bit there. But you could go down to Cameron Johnson, Mikal Bridges. All of these guys are getting a lot of ownership today relative to the slate.
Yeah, and they're getting even more from me here. You get Brooklyn.
All of them?
Just about all of them. One, we saw a very tricky projection coming out of Monday. They went small for most of the game. They got 21 minutes out of Nick Claxton. They did not play Day'Ron Sharpe.
Yeah, good thing we talked about him 15% being way too high owned. They're 13%.
Yeah. I ended up getting away from that for the most part, so that felt good. But I also had a ton of Claxton, so that didn't feel good. Pegging Claxton's minutes is the trickiest part here because I think they do want and need him to be out there as much as he possibly can. I just don't know how many minutes you can go for him and feel comfortable. Like for right now, we went. Well, aren't minutes normally on the boom bust tool? I guess not.
No, they're in the projections on their projected stats.
Do you have it in front of you by any chance?
I can pull it up right now. Keep talking, and what are you looking for? And I'll pull it up right now. I just
what do we have the minutes for on Claxton? I had the boom bust tool open, but I didn't have.
All right. Anything. So on Claxton for
27.
Okay,
I got it.
There you go.
Yeah. So like
I had to reload it.
Anywhere in that 26 to 30 range, I think is pretty reasonable. At 18% owned, like I'm going to take the shot there again. I don't like it, but 5,700 works for me. Because I think the goal is going to be to have him out there. Those guys got tired in the second half from just when you're playing small like that against Embiid, you don't stop moving defensively. You're immediately moving to doubles. He's immediately kicking to a shooter, and you are doing runouts over and over again. It's drive, somebody's driving, you're getting a kick out. You're closing out on that shooter. You're swinging that ball all the way around, and that defense doesn't stop moving. And they ran out of gas late. So I think they want to try to get more Claxton. I just don't know how much he's going to be able to be out there, but I am interested at 18% ownership. The rest of these guys, though, I'm way over on the Brooklyn end. We've got Bridges at 22% owned. I've got 67%. We've got Dinwiddie at 33% owned. I've got 68%. We've got Cam Johnson at 27% owned. I've got 50%. Royce O'Neal, I'm a little light on. You could take that however you want. He played 35 and a half minutes. If you believe Claxton can play a couple more, you probably assume that Royce O'Neal plays a little bit less. That's the guess, at least. They've got plenty of playing time to go around, that's for sure. But I like getting to Brooklyn. Now that they're at home, this game should be more competitive. It's only a 4.5 point line, something in that neighborhood. I love getting to the starters because I think they can't mess around. I think we're getting big minutes in what should be a more competitive matchup. And I don't really think these guys are, other than Royce O'Neal, like I don't think 7,600 for Bridges is all that crazy. He's scoring. He's had two really great halves in both of these games, but for him to get to 40 fantasy points just doesn't seem all that crazy.
Yeah, just talking about the starters, they played 8 guys last game.
Yeah.
Joe Harris only played 12 minutes. Bridges played 41. Dinwiddie played 41. Cameron Johnson played 41. Royce O'Neal played 36. So like, yeah, you had the Nick Claxton and Dorian Finney-Smith rotations were shorter and they played fewer minutes, but you're likely getting 4 guys 35 plus today, probably 3 at 40 plus again. And then maybe you get more for Claxton today and he gets close to the 30 range. It's going to be a really condensed rotation. Like you said, it has to be a condensed rotation.
Yeah, like we have Cam Johnson in for 32 minutes. I think he has to play. Like if this competitive, I don't know how he's not playing more than 32.
Yeah, I think that's a conservative projection for sure.
Yeah. Like that just, to me, they don't have much of a choice at this point. Like they showed us what they're going to do on Monday. I don't think they're going to zig and start playing like 2 bigs at the same time or anything crazy like that. I think we're just going to get massive minutes out of some of these guys once again. Royce O'Neal is the only one that concerns me. Like I assume he plays like 30, could play upwards of 36. Still looks really good. But like we've got 17% ownership coming into Dorian Finney-Smith. He started Monday's game off ultra hot. Didn't close that way, but he's the type of guy where if they are going small and you're not getting as much Claxton, you do want to get to more DFS. 10% coming into Curry. He played a little bit more on Monday, 3,500. If you just want to hope that he knocks down a couple more threes here at home, I see that path.
What's kind of funny?
Don't go to Sharp.
Yeah, don't go to Sharp. What's kind of funny to me though is they actually have done a pretty good job of limiting Embiid. Like he's clearly not getting the opportunities that he wants. Look at the shot volume. It's not by design from Philly that he's not shooting 20 times a game, not getting to the line 15 times at least. Like defensively, they have definitely found ways to tamp down the volume on shots, but you can't slow everyone down. And that's kind of the thing. Like, do they go away from that today? I don't really see how you can. That's the problem with the Nets, in my opinion. The way I see it is, even if they're like, all right, let's change it up, and now we got to stop these guys from knocking threes down and getting wide open looks, then you're giving Embiid free reign. Like it's just I don't really think there's an answer. Not to say they can't get a win and Philly shoots poorly, because that shit happens, but I don't really think they have an answer.
No, they don't. They're just delaying the inevitable in any scenario, barring any injuries. If Joel Embiid can just play this series normally, Brooklyn has no chance to win.
1 down, 2 to go.
Yeah.
Hey, before we get to Sacramento and Golden State, like you said, 2 night games today. Should be interesting. We got to shout out our sponsor, Bet365. You're talking about 4 states right now. In the whole United States, you might be one of those lucky people that gets the best promo that is currently in the country, hands down, no questions asked. Colorado, Virginia, Ohio, and South Dakota. Just kidding. New Jersey. Colorado, Ohio, New Jersey, and Ohio, and Virginia. Colorado, Virginia, New Jersey, and Ohio. There we go. That's 4. That's 4.
Great job making that joke. Really helped you out.
No, it's just to get people's attention. It works. It works. See, someone's like, I didn't know South Dakota, you could do this. See that?
I didn't know South Dakota was a state is the better way to say that.
Right now.
Chad is not going crazy.
Bet $1 and you get $200 in bonus bets. It is that simple. Bet $1 using the link in the description and in chat. Bet $1, get $200 in bonus bets. Put it on whatever you want. Go with some crazy, like, to hit a home run parlays in baseball. Do 4 of them, 5 of them for your $1. Or go with some wild, like, double-double, triple-double parlays. Go with some alt parlays, however you want to do it. You know, like alt lines on points or rebounds. There's a million different ways. If you lose it, you're still getting $200. Doesn't matter. Like, I'm not like, all right, let me bet the Sixers money line today with my $1 bet that's going to get me $200 so it can return 60 cents on the dollar. That sounds horrible. I want to put myself in a spot where, knowing whether my bet wins or loses, I'm getting 200. Maybe I could turn my $1 into like 100 or even more. Just something insane. That's the way I look at it. Link's in the description. Link is in chat. If you're not there yet, Colorado, New Jersey, Virginia, and Ohio, you should absolutely be there. The worst case scenario throughout all of this, literally, is, and people often use this term way out of context, and it's wrong. You're like, oh, dude, I literally shit myself. You scared me. You shit yourself? No, I mean, you said literally. You literally, the worst case scenario is you lose $1 at the end of the day. You could go on a horrible run and lose $1 at the end of all this. Or you build your bankroll up 4 or 5 figures. We've had the testimonials coming in already of people that use the promo and just crushed with this. And you're rolling into the summer into football with a big bankroll. Check it out. Link in the description and in chat. Deposit 10, takes a minute to sign up. Bet one of those 10, get your $200 in bonus bets. Essentially, you're making $100 per minute in the 2 minutes that you take. All right. Must be 21 years or older to gamble. If you or somebody you know does in fact have a problem with gambling, I would recommend calling or texting 1-800-GAMBLER. All right.
All right.
All right. Golden State at home hosting the Kings, 5.5-point favorites here. I want your opinion. No numbers, none of that, just your opinion. When you look at this game, do you feel like Golden State comes out and mows them down today? Or do you think that's the way everybody feels? So this should probably be a more competitive game.
I mean, to be fair, I thought that Golden State would come out and mow them down in games 1 and 2. So I might not be the right. I'm not the right guy to ask. But
that's why I'm a little bit I'm a little trigger shy on this one now.
Nobody likes to hear it, and everybody's going to bitch and moan about it, but it doesn't make it any less true. There's a reason the Golden State's 5.5-point favorites or 6-point favorites in this game, even without Draymond Green. Take that for whatever you want to take it for, but there's a reason that that's the case. I hope Golden State wins. It's way more interesting if it does. If they do, a series doesn't start until the road team wins a game. But if the road team wins a game here, Golden State is in deep, deep shit. So I hope that Golden State comes out and takes out the Kings.
Me too, man. I actually don't know why I do. I didn't bet this series. I don't know why I want Gold. The only reason
I want good teams to win as much as possible so that as we get deeper into the playoffs, the best teams play each other. That's what I want.
But at a point, I want Golden State to win because I've been saying I thought they were going to win the whole time. So it's just a pride factor. But if Golden State gets swept here, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's not This isn't the NFL where one game can be just, there's so much variance in one game in the NFL. Of course, the best teams usually win, but a lot of times they don't. And then the next round, like wild card, the divisional round's a bloodbath. And you're like, I really wish the better team didn't have a horrible week last time out. But if Golden State were to come in and lose like 4-1 in this series or get swept, are they still the better team over a 7-game series if they lose it in 4 or 5?
Yes.
They are.
I mean, if they had to play the series again, they'd be the favorites.
But then what if they play
the Kings if the Kings sweep them right now and they had to run this whole series back, Golden State would be the favorite in the series.
What if they ran it back again and Golden State lost?
At that point in time, we would probably get pretty close to a coin flip.
Yeah. I think I agree with that. I think we'd be coin flipped if Golden State lost this series in 4 or 5. I think we'd be coin flipped in the next series.
I mean, we're seeing Golden State by 6 without Draymond right now at home. Like,
oh no, I get that. But if
we're not cutting 3 points in 2 games.
If Golden State were to win today, lose game 4, and then go back in game 5 to Sacramento, this isn't a Golden State -1 line anymore. I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. And that would show you a shift.
Yeah, I don't think assuming everybody's allowed to play, like everybody's healthy and shit, I think I think we would see exactly what we saw in games 1 and 2.
All right. Well, it's totally possible that we actually see that. This isn't just a hypothetical. So we can definitely revisit that conversation. It is going to be interesting to see, don't you think? Just to see how the lines are on these games if Sacramento steals a game in Golden State.
I mean, if Sacramento gets a game in Golden State, it's a real problem. It is probably the end of the Golden State Warriors.
I think so.
Although they've got one out in that scenario. I just don't know if they can exercise it and what they get in it. But their only out is to be able to trade Poole in the offseason.
And that ankle injury, I'm wondering how much that's bothering him right now.
I think it's bothering him that he sucks.
I mean, that's entirely possible, but 16 minutes last game, they've been talking about this nagging ankle injury. Maybe it's a combination of both.
I mean, he's been atrocious for the entire season. He played every game this year.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and he's been dog shit from the jump.
Yeah. Good for DFS.
He shot 33.5% from 3 this year.
Kevin says, non-Kings fans who say light the beam are lame. Yeah, what's that? The lights outside of the stadium when they win?
Yeah, they set off like the bat signal, basically.
Amazing. They probably never had to replace those bulbs.
No, I mean, they have not been in the playoffs for a very long time before now.
Those are fresh bulbs, dude.
Yeah.
I'm almost at this point just rooting for the Kings.
I'm not. I root for the best teams, and they're not one of those.
They are.
They're having a great look. They're having a great season. Like, kudos to them that they've been able to turn their fortunes around. But like, they're not one of those teams. Certainly not constituted like this. It doesn't invalidate the things that they've done, but like, they're just not one of the teams that I think are the best, and we see that in the data. So I want the best teams to have to play deep series in the final couple rounds and get the best basketball we can get. Well, that's what I hope for.
If the Kings do in fact win this series and they win it, convincingly, I will in fact eat my words, because anything I say, anything you say is here already. So, and I would like to see them win and go further, because you talk about we'd rather see good teams. Well, in the event that they do win and then they go on and they beat an objectively good team, then it's going to be hard for me not to pull for an upstart Kings team that hasn't been in the playoffs since 2006. It's going to be very difficult.
It'll be very easy for me.
Yeah, I get that. But this is what I find silly about your argument. Like, if they were to beat Golden State and then they were to play, I don't know who they play, but let's just say Denver or Phoenix, and then they beat Phoenix. Like, you can't across 2 7-game series just be like, they're not good. No, they're not good. They can't.
They're going to play They're going to play the Memphis Lakers winner, right?
Okay, but like I said, I don't know who it will be. Okay, so then they play the winner of, let's just say, Phoenix, Denver, Minnesota, shout out to the Timberwolves. I was really actually impressed with their ability to hang in that game, and they made it an extraordinarily fun game. Edwards is a stud, man. What a fun player to watch he is. Just so fun. But whether you think he's, doesn't matter. He's fun, and that's good for the game. They have no chance against Denver. So it's Denver, probably Phoenix. The Kings get through the next round, let's just say, and then they get to Phoenix or Denver, and they beat them. Not saying they will, but let's just say they do. You can't go into the finals being like, man, I wish a good team made it to the finals. That doesn't make sense.
I mean, you kind of can.
No, you can't. Not across 3 7-game series. They can't take out all
when they're like
teams.
plus 300 against the Celtics in the finals. The market will have spoken.
The market will have spoken, but you're still talking about a team that ran through all of the best teams in their conference.
Sure. Look, if you're
not what I'm saying,
your hypothetical here is the Kings are going to be massive dogs in their first round series, the next series, and the next series, and then they make the finals. Like, yeah, I guess we could talk about those hypotheticals, but it's like talking about Paul Reed being the most optimal player on today's slate.
I got you.
They're going to be underdogs in everything that they do.
Yeah, I get that, because the market that would just mean that the market hasn't adjusted yet.
Not
why?
No,
why?
I don't agree with that.
Why can't it mean that the market hasn't adjusted yet? That like if they went
I believe it's an efficient market. I think it's always in perfect adjustment.
Okay. All right.
I don't think there's anything to adjust to because I think it's always right.
Markets can be
as right as something. I think it's as right as something can be. Not in a sport where you're getting new data every other day.
Well, the new data is that they just won 3 straight 7-game series. It's not like they played 1 game each.
Yeah, but we'll see the impact of what that is on a game-by-game basis. So far through 2 games, it doesn't seem to matter because they're still 6-point dogs without Draymond Green.
Yeah, I get that. But if they were to go on to win the finals then.
Right. If we're going to take the underdog in 3 straight series, then yeah, they're going to look a lot better.
I'm asking where your end point is. Because if they were to go on to win the finals as dogs, then you're like, all right, then the market hadn't necessarily adjusted to what we expected from the Kings.
Or they were an outlier.
All right.
Look, 40 times 4 or 0.4 times 0.4 times 0.4 is still 6% of the time they get there as giant underdogs, and it's still just math.
Takes a lot, though. Takes a lot to get through. You know how basketball is, though. It takes a lot to get through a full, just run the gauntlet. It probably won't even happen anyway, so it's whatever. But if they were to come in and sweep the Warriors or go 4-1, my eyes are open. You got my attention. Anyway, What do you want to do with the Kings today?
Play them, unfortunately. It's not what I'm looking for, that's for sure. By the way, plus 700 to win the West right now.
Yeah, but
that's a 3 seed up 2-0.
That's not the argument I'm making. My argument isn't that they should. My argument is where does it start and where does it end for you in the event that they keep running through good teams? That's what my argument wasn't that they're going to win the West. I never once said that.
You got them running through 3 straight underdog series, and I got to think about this garbage hypothetical.
I'm not asking you to think about it any further. I'm clarifying my stance.
Sabonis looks really good. 31% owned, highest owned guy on the Kings. 9K, center only. Played 39.5 minutes on Monday. Right now, I'm not getting to as much as I think that I should be because I think he looks really good. It wasn't the way that my lineup's sorted out right now, but that is not like I would like to get to more if I could. Because I think he's just in a really nice spot with no Draymond. They don't have a lot of options. This either has to be Looney has one of the better defensive games that he's ever had, or Sabonis is just going to own, he's going to own the glass. I have him projected for like 15 boards or something. Just a real staggering rebounding performance here. So please get to Sabonis if you can. He very clearly looks better than De'Aaron Fox to me. 9,100 point guard eligible. only 13% owned. Feels a tad low, but not somebody that I'm getting to. I'm getting to the rest of these guys. I'm getting to Barnes at 5,100. Barnacle, obviously. I'm getting 25 to 30% of Kevin Huerter. He's playing about 30 minutes a night. He's got great positional flexibility. Price tag works. And then I'm getting to Monk, same as the field, right around 25%. He's gotten the minutes across the first two games. They have basically removed Keegan Murray from relevant minutes in this series. Monk is up to 5,600, but would it be all that surprising if Monk's playing 28 minutes to get to a little over 30 fantasy points? I don't think so. He's a fantasy point per minute guy. I don't really think that you can go to much Davion Mitchell, although the minutes have been nice. If you want to roll the dice on Keegan Murray and think that, like, instead of playing 16 minutes, he can get to 24, I think that's interesting given his price now. I just don't know how you do that after seeing them win maybe you see that in game 4 if Golden State wins here, but I don't know how you go to Murray now on the road after not really playing him at home into victories. So priority levels, to me, it's Sabonis at the top. Take your pick for Barnes, Huerter, Monk, and then Fox would be 5th.
Malik Monk, man.
Yeah.
Dude's playing for the best team in the West.
I can't with you. I just can't. Then you get things like John P being like, no, Vegas has them as a -6 because historically good teams down 0-2 going home usually win on their home court. Yeah, that has nothing to do with the line.
I mean, home court does, but that has to do with but that's all. But the Warriors were also favored on the road too.
Yeah, that line does not get made by historically 0-2 teams being. None of that is relevant.
I think that game closed it as a pick'em. Actually, I could be wrong.
Game 2?
That can't be right though. Warriors had to have closed as a favorite.
We're talking for game 2?
Yeah, game 2.
Let me see.
That can't be right. For some reason, it popped into my head, but that can't be right. Can you pull that up?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
The closing line. Right?
Let's see. Maybe the line was 2.
Did it close at 2? I thought it narrowed for some reason, but I could just be thinking of another game.
What date was that? 17th?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it closed at 2.
Okay. All right. Wow, man. Odd shopper right now has Joel Embiid, the under 4.5 on FanDuel, 10% OS bet, 67 win percentage. I crushed on odd shopper picks yesterday, dude. Absolutely ran just football, baseball and basketball. Just the strikeout props, total base props. It's a beautiful thing, man. Really is.
I hit my no house advantage plays yesterday, but unfortunately for me, the Miami Heat getting absolutely annihilated didn't get me there on Prize Picks. But I went 2 for 2 on no house advantage, so nice. That was a 3.2x return.
Beautiful. Yeah. I was looking at my history, and I just can't bet Jimmy Butler anymore. I'm 0-6 on Jimmy Butler props over the past 2 weeks. It's crazy. Everything else looks green. Most everything else. I got the Gabe Vincent over 2.5 assists yesterday too. Just can't. The Jimmy Butler ones, the rebounds were staring me in the face. And then the blowout was, they just got trash. Bucks knocked down. They tied the all-time postseason record for most threes in a game. They had 21 after 3 quarters, 25 they couldn't miss. And the funny thing is, if you look at Miami after 3 quarters when it was 30 some points, they weren't even shooting bad. They were 52% from the field.
Yeah, the Bucks were just unstoppable.
Unstoppable. Crazy without Giannis. They're like, all right, we'll just shoot a lot of threes today.
Yeah. I was looking really good after that. In the middle of that game, I was set to have a really big night. And then obviously everybody just shut it down for the 4th quarter. And that became a real problem for me.
Boss Bro said they were 25 for 35 from 3. That's nuts.
It's insane.
Nuts. And let's talk about the Warriors then. Yeah. So Poole questionable. I assume he's going to be out there. Draymond Green is out, suspended. Gary Payton, Andrew Wiggins also questionable. At this point, we just have to assume that they're going to play. I don't know. Payton's dealing with an illness. Why are they still calling it a non-COVID illness at this point?
Because apparently it's not COVID.
Right. But I'm not going to be, shitting my brains out and be like, it's a non, name another illness. Who cares?
They do, I guess. I don't know. I mean, you haven't cared about COVID since COVID started.
What's that?
You haven't cared about COVID since COVID started. So I don't expect you to care at all.
But 3 years later, nobody cares about it, right?
No, but like they still have protocols in place. They must have to do it until the season, at least the season's over.
No, for sure. But I'm just saying, like, they should, if it's non-COVID, they should say it's the flu. Well,
the flu is a thing. It doesn't have to be the flu.
Right. So why are we, that's what I'm saying though. So now it should be like non-COVID, non-flu, non-gastro, intestinal, I don't even know why I bring it up.
I have no idea why you're doing
this. Blame it on the 4 hours of sleep, my friends. All right. Warriors. Yeesh. Are you with me that everybody should be out there? I mean, It's hard to think they're not, right?
Yeah, I assume that everybody that can be playing for the Warriors is playing today. Unfortunately, it's not Draymond Green, who got a suspension he doesn't deserve.
Well, some may argue that he
those people are not
like
bright.
The league.
Yeah, the league is not bright. They are punishing him too much for this. An ejection, multiple flagrant foul points, and another game. The punishment doesn't fit the crime.
Well, then how do we want to get into this? What do we want to start with? Steph?
Yeah, 9,700 point guard eligible, 32% owned, 32% usage when Draymond's not around, 29% assist rate. I think he's going to have to play 39, 40, 41 minutes, something in that neighborhood. He looks fantastic. To me, he is the best pay-up option for today. Just because he's $1,000 cheaper than Embiid, I think he's just easier to get to. And obviously, it's a great spot. They're going home. They're taking on a Sacramento team that, no matter what has happened for the first two games, has a terrible defense. This is a fantastic opportunity for Steph Curry. Please go that direction if you can. Go to Clay, too. 7,200, shooting guard eligible, 25% owned. I'm like 2Xing or close to 2Xing Clay right now, and I feel pretty good there. It feels like one of those two guys are going to get up a lot of threes. Which one it is, up in the air, but feels like a heater's coming out of one of those two guys, that's for sure. And then you get to the best guy on the team for today, $6,300 Andrew Wiggins. He's 49% owned, and he should be. Played 39 minutes on Monday, finally got back into the starting lineup. I mean, he's not playing anything less than 36, barring foul trouble today. They don't have a choice with no Draymond, so all the minutes are there. Position looks great for Wiggins. Don't overthink that ownership. He's the best play for Golden State.
One to go, Josh.
Oh, we got a couple more things for Golden State yet. I think
you stopped.
But I was hitting the main three guys.
I got you. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Sometimes you just run through them. But I guess we're not really up against it. It's 10:43 here today. Yeah, we definitely need to get into to how the Green absence affects some of these, not Wiggins, Curry, and Klay Thompson, because Green's not a high usage guy, but the minutes that we're losing here are pretty significant when you're talking about a 3-game postseason slate.
The minutes are massive, and figuring out who gets those Draymond minutes is the most important question for right now, especially with this being a 10 o'clock start. My assumption is that Gary Payton starts. He's shooting guard, small forward, eligible, 4,400, currently projected for 33% ownership. I think he just naturally moves into the starting lineup and fits what Sacramento's doing. Trying to get to... could it be Kuminga? Sure. Doesn't seem like he fits this series against Sacramento. Who are you bringing Kuminga out there to guard? Harrison Barnes?
This is also assuming that Gary Payton with a non-COVID illness is actually on the floor.
Also true. Played 27 minutes on Monday. I went to 29 here, assuming he starts. I think he looks really good. You have to think Kevon Looney's playing massive minutes here. I went to 29, but we saw him play 32 in game one. They don't have Draymond behind them. If they want any semblance of a good defense, I think Looney has to be out there. So I am over the field on Looney. If you want to roll the dice on Kuminga, I think he picks up a bunch of playing time. He's a $4,200 power forward center. Right now, 9% owned. I like rolling those dice, taking a shot on Kuminga. I don't have much interest in Jordan Poole. Doesn't feel like a Poole day. Dante DiVincenzo has been really not great in this series. Hasn't been able to stay in front of Fox or Monk. In theory, he could get more playing time, but I think he's the least likely of all of these guys to really step into more. They probably run Moses Moody for a rotation if they can. Don't think that he's really playable, really bad per minute dude. So I'm mostly focused on the starters plus Kuminga. And when I say the starters, that is with the assumption that Gary Payton is starting.
Yeah, man. There's going to be something that comes out of this team today without Draymond. And it might, even if Payton starts, it might be Kuminga off the bench. It's a 239 total and they're missing a key starting player. Like this is, let me phrase it to you this way before we move on. This might be more helpful for people. If you were to look at, whether it's the boom bust tool, you're looking at ownership right now, any of that stuff and saying, one of these guys, let's say that Payton's in and he's starting, okay, just for argument's sake, because we can't run through every iteration of what's possible here.
Yeah.
Are there any guys that won't pull ownership that have the possibility of being a great tournament play that could soak up some of those minutes?
Jordan Poole.
Yeah. Probably
he's 6% owned. I don't think he's a good play at all. He played 22 and 16 minutes across the first two, but if he goes out in his first rotation and is hot, there's nothing stopping them from him just shooting his way into 26, 28 minutes. And then all of a sudden you're having a real conversation of whether you needed him at low ownership.
How many minutes does Looney get today?
I went 29. I think you could see him play upwards of 33 or 34, or even just trying to match Sabonis. I don't know what they do. I don't know what the plan will be if, when Looney's off the floor, if Sabonis is out there. I assume it's going to have to be an immediate double, but the problem lies in that he's such an incredible passer that if he's getting that, I think it looks a lot like Joel Embiid, where they're getting Sabonis the ball somewhere in that free throw line extended area, and it's really hard to send a double in the middle of the floor. And if you're doing that against one of the better big man passers, you're in for it at least a little bit. So what they do when Looney's not on the floor will be very, very interesting.
I think you could get another 32 from him today.
I think that's I think that's a goal.
Constant foul trouble last game. 2 fouls in the first quarter. A third foul he picked up, and he lost probably, another 5 minutes in the second quarter. Picked up, let's see here. Yeah, his fifth foul, he picked up 5 minutes into the third quarter. He lost a lot of minutes. He was in foul trouble in 3 separate occasions. To a lesser extent in the first quarter because he had already played 8.5 minutes. So we don't have to count that if you don't want. But he lost a decent amount of playing time in this game, and he still closed the game out as well in a competitive spot.
Look, they don't have other defensive options. This is the thing that they have to do. Yeah, he has to, and he has to be.
And no Draymond. He has to be.
The interesting thing is we're seeing a lot of chat where it's just Sabonis smashes, Sabonis this, Sabonis that. Don't be surprised to see this look a lot like the Joel Embiid games, where he's not scoring as much as you would expect because he's never put in a position to score, but cleaning up the glass, potentially offensive rebounds for putbacks, but cleaning up the glass and getting everybody else involved might be the way that they best utilize Sabonis if they have to change this up, because not having Draymond Green out there is a problem. I think Draymond Green was the best defensive player in basketball. I think he should have been the defensive player of the year. Losing that is massive.
Yeah, imagine what that front court looks like when Looney's off the floor and Sabonis and company are out there.
Yeah, look, I think they're going to try to tie Looney's minutes to Sabonis as much as they possibly can.
BP said, I just assume you're picking up fouls playing against Sabonis. I don't know where they came from. I suppose you could be right there. But at the same time, if he's not in foul trouble, I do think Looney plays a lot of minutes here. All right, you ready to close this one out? A little Phoenix and LAC action?
Yeah, let's do it.
Before we do, today's show also brought to you by Manscaped, baby. You've heard Manscaped reads on a lot of podcasts, but a lot of them just run through it. No real personal endorsements. I can tell you right now, they sent us a bunch of stuff. I use it every single day. Whether I'm trimming up the pubes, going hard down there, as Josh said, whether you're for or against the grain, doesn't matter. Whether I'm hopping out of the shower and I'm tapping the sack with a little ball cream and spritzing it up, which, by the way, am I crazy for this? And I want your honest opinion here. Also, if you're looking to get in, the link is in the description, or if you're a podcast listener, the promo code is Stokastic, STOKASTIC. You're getting 20% off everything and free shipping. After I get out, this is gonna sound wild. After I get out of the shower, right? I cream up down there. You and I had this conversation, a lengthy conversation, much pun intended. Spritz up, and then a couple hours later, I was like, all right, I got to take a leak. Drop trowel, take a leak, and that beautiful smell of the cream just wafts up, and all I can do is appreciate it. Is that just me, or do you catch that scent too, and you're like, man, that smells awesome?
I love it. I have nothing else to add. I can't. I don't have anything else that I could possibly. You've used the language in the perfect way for me in this scenario, because I wholeheartedly agree with everything that you're talking about. I love the product. It feels great. I agree. Smell fantastic. Everything works easily. I've got like a big basket now with all of my stuff in it. So like,
me too.
It's like a kid at Christmas. Like I have all of the things.
Justine actually organized mine. I came home one day and I looked in and I was like, oh, thanks. That's awesome. Well, dude, I got briefs. I got the ball cream. I got the spritzer. I got the razor for the balls, which is beautiful. Just don't have to worry about a literal bloodbath or anything. Just clean strokes. No concerns whatsoever. Josh goes down to the skin, not me. I like to leave a little something there. Now you got the trimmers for your face as well. Adjustable guard. You don't have to replace the guards. You just spin a dial. You're in and you're out. I could go on forever about that. Shit, they even sent me a newspaper. Okay,
they did. They did. We got everything. I mean, the nose hair trimmer and shit too. I got some of it in my office right now that like I don't frequently use.
Yeah, the nose. Look, everyone's using it, from Josh Engleman to Megan Fox. Manscaped is a big hit, and I mean that sincerely.
Is that why you choose Megan Fox? Well, Manscaped.
Damn right. First time I saw it, I was like, "Are you?"
You smelled the cream. You're like, "It's got to be Megan Fox."
You know, I got to go do it from behind, but turn around, hon. Yeah. See what you got there.
Hold on to the handle.
I say it though, in all seriousness, I was stoked when this read came back, because it's like, okay, I'll talk about something that I use every day. That's tough. It's easy.
It's easy. Yeah.
20% off of everything, free shipping. Use the link in the description or the promo code Stokastic. Say you're listening in podcast, STOKASTIC. Listen, even if you try it once and you don't love it, just don't re-up. But I think you will. Everything. I never thought, you know what it is? Here's a God's honest truth. Then we'll talk some Phoenix and LAC here, or LA Clippers. It was stuff that I never thought I needed or I'd use, but now that I have it, I don't think I'm never not going to need it or use it again. Does that make sense?
Oh, it's 100% true. I would have never ordered it on my own, and now that they have sent it to me, I will always re-up for all of the things I need.
So check it out. Links down
it's
there.
Not even up for debate.
No. Manscaped and Stokastic's the promo code, or just use the link in the description. And in all seriousness, let us know what you think too. Let us know. Send me some pictures. Slide in my DMs. Let's see how things are looking. I want to see the real power of Manscaped.
I'm sending you a picture of a glob of ball cream on my taint.
Clippers hosting the Phoenix Suns. What's the spread in this one?
2.5.
2.5. Yeah, Suns were 8.5-point favorites. Covered that last game. They're 2.5-point road favorites. They are the better team. Looking though at the projected minutes, it's crazy, right? Because you got the Suns, and we've got them projected, these guys, for like 41 minutes. I even think to some extent that's conservative with the amount of minutes. And I'm not saying you're projecting everyone for 45. You know that. But Durant has played 44 and 45 minutes in both of these games. Their bench is absolutely putrid. And that is something to consider here. Okay. Monty Williams was under a microscope after game one for some of the decisions he made, starting lineup, bench rotations. Things went awry real quick. Booker and Durant, though, monster minutes.
Yeah, and if you can get to them, only 20% owned on both sides. I'm getting to more Booker, 8,800 shooting guard in comparison to Durant, $9,600 small forward, power forward. These guys aren't all that different as fantasy players. So I'm going to take the savings and get to Booker. Finding it a little difficult to get to Durant, but obviously, if you can get to him, please roster Kevin Durant. He's incredible and probably playing 44 minutes today. So don't let up there. I mean, we're seeing Booker, Durant, Paul, Ayton, all 20% owned, another 12% to Craig. I don't mind that ownership going to Craig. I'm once again going to be at least a little bit interested in DeAndre Ayton, 6,400. Just a really nice price tag. He played 31 and a half minutes in game 2. I think that he's live for upwards of 34, 35 if need be. Just looks fine. I don't know how you go to anybody else. If Cam Payne is in, you really don't go to the bench. If Cam Payne is out, you can potentially make a case for Landry Shamet at 3,400, but even then, I don't think you're going too crazy. It's a starting 5 and nobody else scenario here for Phoenix.
They got put into a bad situation too, because last game Ayton had picked up his 4th foul 4 minutes into the 3rd. So Biyombo had to play additional minutes in that game, more than I suspect that he would have. Look at the rotation. Forget about, TJ Warren and Damian Lee and Ish Wainwright. Ish Wainwright played like less than a minute and blowout run. You had 14 from Biyombo, got more from Ayton foul trouble. Landry Shamet played 14. Josh Okogie played 15, but the rest of the starting lineup, Paul 38, Durant 44, Booker 45, Torrey Craig 32, Ayton 32, would have played more. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's a little surprising is that Okogie isn't playing a bit more than he is, but this because he had started like 28 games to close out the season.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that he was just like their no doubt about it starter, and then they got to the playoffs and they were like, you know what, we'll go the other direction.
They're lucky they won that. Williams would have got excoriated in the event that Torrey Craig played all those minutes, because I know that Torrey Craig's shooting well. The problem is their bench is so bad.
Well, they have Craig out there for Kawhi. That's why he's in that
I get it, and he's also shooting well. What I'm saying is you're running into some issues. Maybe they don't have the right answer, but they should still win. I'm not saying they shouldn't win.
Yeah.
All right. So who, quickly, just to run through this before we wrap it up with the Clippers, who's playable for Phoenix?
Booker, Durant, Paul, Ayton, Craig.
Okay. Yeah, the bench is just untouchable right now.
Very.
Oh, you just named the starting lineup.
I did.
Yeah, as you should. What about the Clippers on the other side of this one? Any interest in getting to Kawhi Leonard or the star of the show, Russell Westbrook?
Oh, God. I mean, he was much better in game 2 than he was in game 1. 9,500 for Kawhi. I like Kawhi more than I like Durant. That might be a non-popular opinion, but 15% ownership coming into Kawhi. I'm 2xing that. I'm more likely to get to the Kawhi side than the Durant side. Durant, obviously more likely to play more minutes, but I don't think that it's massive. Very comparable per minute, guys. Actually, it's probably better for Kawhi, given the fact that there's no Paul George here, whereas Durant has Booker on the opposite end. Westbrook, 16% owned at 8K. Fine, I guess. I'm really worried about his playing time in close games. I think that he could lose time in the final 4 or 5 minutes of a game if you're really trying to run the offense through Kawhi, because he just stops being a guy that is an asset on the floor if he's never going to move, if he's never going to set any screens, if he can't shoot. So I am anxious to see that, but I still have Russ in for 35 minutes. Totally reasonable option. Most owned guy for the Clippers is 28.5% owned. Ivica Zubac, 5,300. Zubac has played 29.5 minutes across both games. I assume that's not going to change. It could if they wanted to go small, if that's going to be a pivot. This is usually the time where Ty Lue starts making pretty wholesale changes to rotations. So we'll see if any changes happen here. But for now, I think you kind of have to get to Zubac. I think Norm Powell is the most interesting guy here from a GPP perspective. He's 19% owned, 4,900. You get that shooting guard, small forward eligibility. He's going to have a pretty sizable usage rate when he's on the floor. Played 28 minutes on Tuesday. I'm projecting him 2 less than that, and I still think he's very interesting. So Powell is a guy I want to get to. I like Terrence Mann. He's played 24 and 25 and a half minutes over the first 2 games. He's 4K. He's 9% owned. Another guy that I think could potentially play more if it's the right sort of game script. And if he's less than 10% owned, that's a flyer that I'd like to take. Not a ton of interest in Batum, Plumlee, Bones. Batum would be the guy that could suddenly just play like 30 minutes. I don't think that there's much left for Plumlee or Bones to try to get to either one of those guys.
Mike L said, thanks, guys. Signed up yesterday. Finally, instead of losing by 1.1 some money. Good stuff, man. Yeah, you guys know it. 50% off everything, whether it's baseball, top pitchers, top stacks tool, top hitters tool, ownership. I mean, baseball tools, you'll see it in the Hall of Fame segment. And if you're rocking the badge, stochastic.com/avatar. You're rocking the Stochastic badge in whatever contest and you're tweeting your wins as Stochastic HOF. When you finish top 3 in a field of 5,000 or more, you know you're getting the free month, $120 value. You know you're getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. But if you're not there yet and you've seen the Hall of Fame or you haven't, you'll see it tonight in between the Deeper Dive and Live Before Lock. You know the MLB tools have just been absolutely killing to start the season. I mean, absolute destruction, annihilation across the board, from Steve Buzzard shipping like 350,000 in the matter of 4 days to a lot of subs just hitting us up about it. 50% off baseball. If you want to go a week, a month, you get the Fantasy Cruncher add-on if you want, or every sport, given that every sport outside of football is happening right now. 50% off everything, man. Tools are crushing. You can see it for yourself. See it for yourself.
Don't forget Eddie Lai, back-to-back nights, 100K,
Oh, yes.
NBA and baseball.
Yeah, Eddie Lai, who works on our tools, just took down, 100K in back-to-back nights?
He's the CTO of this joint.
Yes, he is. Using the tools. Steve Buzzard, the CFO. 300. It's too long to go on for. My point is, if you're interested, it's 50% off everything, whatever package you're looking to get, whether it's just baseball, just basketball, all sports, 1 week, 1 month. You want to get the add-on for Fantasy Cruncher, do that. You want to just get the lineup generator. It's $4.48 for your first week. For those of you playing, not a lot of money, but don't have a lot of time either, we got you covered. If you have questions, hit me up on my DMs. I'm always happy to answer them. But yeah, good stuff, Mike. I love seeing that the tools are working for people.
450K to the C-suite in a week.
Wow. Yeah, that's outrageous.
Nuts. It's truly nuts.
Favorite play from the Clippers?
Kawhi, because he's like, he can have a score that's a problem. Norm Powell, if we're talking about like a mid-tier option.
Let's wrap it with this. Favorite high-end option, favorite value play for the day, and favorite overall low-owned tournament option. Could be any price, any range.
All right. Favorite payout is Kawhi, just given the ownership, 14.5%, 9,500, playing 40 minutes in a competitive game, back at home as well. Favorite mid-tier option, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was going to say favorite value option, but then favorite like leverage spot as a tournament play after that.
Favorite value option, man, there is just nothing at the bottom. Call it Terrence Mann at 4K.
Okay.
Getting half the ownership of Dorian Finney-Smith at, what should be a comparable projection. And then I like 27% owned Cam Johnson at 5,800. We saw him play massive minutes in game 2. I don't really see a scenario where that's changing, and he played really well. So if you think he's getting 34, 36 minutes today, 27% isn't enough.
Appreciate you guys hanging out as always. We'll close the week out tomorrow. Yeah, I think, or 2 games tomorrow?
I don't know.
Me neither. It's 2 or 3, I think.
Let me look. Today, tomorrow. 3 games tomorrow.
3 games. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, 3 games tomorrow. These are nice slates. 3 games, 4 games, all that good stuff. We'll see you back here bright and early tomorrow. Well, if you're on the West Coast. Otherwise, the Odd Shop coming up at 4 p.m. I'm doing a sneak preview of the new features that we just dropped or that are dropping on Odd Shopper. Yeah, wait till you get sports betting legalized in North Carolina, because Odd Shopper is just going to end up being once it's legal for you, all of the bells and whistles will already be there. It's going to be very good for you. For sure.
I'm incredibly jealous. It's annoying, man.
I know.
It's so annoying.
I'll be doing that on the Odd Shop, 4 o'clock on our Odd Shopper, our betting channel. And then you got the Deeper Dive Live Before Lock right here for basketball. You got MLB Strategy Show at 12 p.m. Eastern as well. So we got you covered top to bottom, my friends. Follow Josh at Josh Engleman, me at Lofty_D. Shout out to Jake Roach for producing this one, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Peace.